too quiet. I just don't give a shit.
You're the loudest one.
Good. I'm naturally loud. No, I'm not quite as amped up and as loud as Jess though. He can get out there where he starts booming on the mic really loud. So I'll try and speak quietly.
Right, invite's gone out, Stevie, just in case you're listening, mate. And I'm going mute from now, boys.
Oh, come on, son. You can't. Can you at least give us an update on the inducements quick so that we're up to date on that?
Yep, can do, mate.
Awesome, appreciate it.
And now the wait begins to find the game on the Cabal.
Wow, that won't become a thing until the inducements are done. So.
I'm not sure the Twitch is working.
Okay, and we're live on Twitch.
We are live.
Yep. Yeah, looks like it at least. Yeah, they're trying to sell me Taco Bell, so we're definitely live on Twitch.
You buy that shit.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where I can't help it. Every time I go to watch an MMLPro game, I end up buying some things I don't need. You know, most of the time it's Taco Bell or some kind of graphics card or some game that's coming out in 3 weeks. I just impulse buy. I can't help it. I am a creature of habits, and most of my habits are unhealthy and sporadic.
We have a wizard taken by the Grimbeards and a babe. He's using all of his cash. Anyway,
yeah, that's a silly move and won't guarantee people wins. But we've been seeing a lot more coaches spending their hard-earned cash to try and lock up a little bit of competitive advantage against some of these more difficult opponents.
I'll take all the help I can get.
Yeah, an interesting move, I mean, because you can actually use that cash usually after the season to buy some players in the transfer market if it opens up. Yeah, so it's interesting.
Yeah, and that's one of those where I think going into this matchup, the Grimbeards looked at the roster of the Titans, and it's a tour de force. I mean, they have several strength up players. They have Big Mo, their troll, who's been around, I believe, since season 2. So it's one of those where they have enough strength. Plus, where even with the amount of guard that the dwarves have on their team, it will be difficult for them to get clean blocks.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
So I'm not. I am not certain. I know.
I'm one win, 2 draws, and a loss.
Okay, and let's see. I am not getting it yet. They should be coming up on the Twitch soon.
Well, we've done the two. We're doing the 2 lineups.
So I'm still searching, but we should be.
It should be coming up soon. So, Shots, do you have any info about how long has these two teams been around MML? How long have you been playing in the pros?
The Titans are an original team. They started in season 1 and have been a stalwart of the league. I mean, it's one of those where I know when I came in season 2, it was instantly clear that there were a handful of teams that you looked at and went, those are the teams you got to look out for. Those are the teams you want to beat. Titans were definitely one of those that stood out immediately. The Grunts, the Grandiose Gladiators, the Shock and Awe, which actually have left the league recently due to real life issues and stuff like that. So. Yeah, there were a handful of teams that you looked at and you just knew that they were going to be, a force to be reckoned with, immediately and then years to come. So, yeah, the Titans have had a pretty natural growth over the first few seasons, and it's really made them to the point where they're quite a task to deal with for any team, but a team that lacks any strength 4 or anything like that, it's even worse. So I didn't get a real good look at the Grimbeards before going into the game. I don't believe that they field a death roller, and that's something that really has given the Titans some issues in the past. So this will be interesting if they don't have a death roller, how they fare.
They don't have a death roller.
Yes.
I mean, looking at these two teams, of course, we have a player here in the Retide Titans that stands out, and that is Gorbag. Gorbag is he's a masterpiece of an orc, that's for sure.
Yeah, and Gorbag's been steadily becoming more and more difficult to deal with. He started off with a little bit of plus movement, Dauntless, and then the sure hands, and at that point it was clear that he was going to be a star. Beyond that, getting dodge and then the extra movement again, getting him up into that 8 movement range. I mean, this is like an amped up skink out there now. I mean, it's got the mobility that, you know, a lot of people look at orcs as being slow, and, you know, as long as you keep a couple of people in front of them and just slowly grind away the clock. It's definitely not the case with Gorbag on the field. Gorbag will get half a step on your defense and be gone. So that's compounded by the fact that the dwarves don't have that mobility. So, I mean, the dwarves may have to run most of this game with a deep safety just to keep Gorbag honest.
And let's not forget about that shorehand. I mean, it might not come into play this game, but against lots of other teams, I mean, having that shorehand launcher is a very good ball carrier.
Well, and Gorbag isn't afraid to go into a ball sitting next to a couple of tackle zones and just make that attempt. I mean, he has that 3 strength. He has dodge and block, so when he does take attacks, it's a little bit safer for him. You know, that defender stumbles really doesn't have an impact on him. That won't be the case in this particular game because there's a ton of tackle out there, but it is something that we've seen in the past. And a little surprising on that, but this is one of those where it's a frenzy, so he will get another chance at this. The Dauntless triggering both times.
Yeah, it's going to be shorter. That's one.
So, but that's gonna leave the Troll Slayer in an uncomfortable position. He's up the field, and you know, numbers at disadvantage is very clear. We've seen this in another game. I believe it was last night. The Champions of Valhalla sent an Ulf into the line in a similar manner, and the Ulf ended up taking about 2-3 fouls until he was removed from the pitch. So, a bit dangerous putting a player into the heart of the defense like that. Well, it's going to be difficult. I've seen in the past when Thundon has had to deal with wizards and that, where he's done a good job of doing a sloppy cage. It takes a little bit of extra concentration on his half, but it's one of those where he has shown the ability to effectively do that. So far, the dwarves don't appear to be too worried about much of anything but hitting orcs, and that's going to be kind of the story, I think, of this game. Oh, and the field sure hands.
And so we have that's the chat here. Stu is in the chat here, and he's rooting for the dwarves here. And I guess that's because Stu is in a position right now in this play pool where he could actually benefit from Thundon losing this game here.
Well, and part of that may be because he is He is also a dwarf coach, so he may be rooting on his racial equalities. But this is where Gorbag comes in. Gorbag has the range to grab the ball, and then if he's able to acquire it, still get a few steps away. And that's the one thing missing from that backfield right now is tackle. So Gorbag could run in there and snatch the ball out, depending on how these next few blocks go. So this is where you're seeing that strength advantage come in. The dwarves, using their guard, were able to get a few clean blocks and pushes, but the reverse of that is that with a lot of 4 strength and 2 5 strength players, the orcs definitely aren't going to be backing down from a fight. I think the one thing that may help these particular dwarves out is they do have 2 armor 10 players.
And we see exactly what we were worried about there. I mean, Finbad, he went into a bad position there, and he got knocked out. I mean, I think it was Rob Shank. No, it wasn't Rob Shank. It was Clifford. He said, "Yeah, I'm not having you here. I'm gonna take you out." Put him off the pitch. Another interesting thing, you brought up tackle. We had a discussion after, I think it was last week's games, that this play pool is not that heavy on tackle, actually. We see lots of coaches in this play pool not taking tackle as a skill. So it's very interesting.
Yeah. It's one of those where that I think was a natural function of the early MML years, where we had a massive amount of orc teams. So we had a few elf teams here and there. Lizards had an explosion in season 2, but it's really one of those where early on in the history of MML there was anywhere from 7, 6 to even 8 orc teams in any given season. So it was one of those where they really got to the point where there wasn't a massive need for it. You could use 1-2 players with tackle maybe to attack a skink or the war dancer on in 1 week, but to actually load up to stop. Yeah, to load up to stop like a Blitzkriegers, which wasn't even thought of at that point. Dark Elf team coming in with high agility, dodge on most of their players. No one saw that really coming, and that's where the early success on the Blitzkriegers really came in. And you've seen teams really start to give dodge and agility teams a little bit more respect by putting tackle on their players.
And look at this situation right here now. Most of the dwarves are marked up. They're not the best dodgers in the world, of course. And we have 2 orcs here on the ball. I mean, and we have a double skull and a reroll being used. Yeah, this is an interesting situation here for the dwarves, and they free up the only dwarf actually. They had 2 options here, but that was the best one.
Yeah, and this is going to be difficult. They're gonna have to make tough choices early, because the strength advantage for the orcs is really getting exploited here, where they are able to mark up almost all the players. And I mean, with the amount of guard the dwarves have, if their positioning is off even 1 square, I mean, you're going to get in a situation where it's going to be one-on-one matchups all the way across the board, and that guard is going to be, useless. So if this muddled mess in the middle kind of thins out some, or we get another KO or 2, this is going to turn extremely bad for the Grimbeards. And if that happens, I think the Titans are going to get a little revenge. Last week, the Prague number 5 team really put a beating on the Titans, and they weren't happy about that. They
I see the fireball.
And it's an end of turn fireball too, so that's going to be interesting. Neither player taken off the pitch, and I think the Titans are going to be happy with that result. They've gotten the number
Absolutely.
1 looming cloud over their head. From here on out, it's pretty bright. They've gotten the ball on the ground. The dwarves haven't possessed it. There's no cage, and they also have a ton of players marked up. So this is best case scenario for the orcs right now.
Yeah, and we're seeing Big Mo here. He's not known for his intelligence, and he just doesn't understand that he should be standing up here.
Well,
yeah.
Big Mo has been. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, it's a difficult situation at this point. I don't know if the dwarves can actually weather this storm much longer. I think the wizard may have been a desperation move. They saw that they had 3 players in that radius, and were hoping, I think, with being fairly high value targets, Black Orc, a Strength 4 lineman, and then Gorebag. Even if they would have gotten one of those players injured, it could have really turned this game around, because the Titans aren't actually coming in at full strength. They only have 11 players. I'm not sure if they cut a player coming into this game, or if they had a death. But yeah, they traditionally were bringing in.
But no result.
Yeah, it's a little surprising that he went with the pylon without having a stun first. It can be somewhat dangerous sometimes, but must be thinking with it being a long beard that he's not going to be able to scurry too far away.
And that result isn't the best one. Might see a block here, but yeah.
Yeah,
he doesn't want that guy to get closer to the ball.
Offsetting block on that point, and this is one of those where so far, I mean, it's been a full scale blocking mess, and this is to the point where each push is going to become more and more crucial, because if one team can get their guard pieces placed just right, it's going to lead to a bunch of 2-die blocks, and it's going to crack this.
And we have a dwarf injured here. I mean, that is a hard hit on Glenber.
And that's a high-value dwarf. That's a miss next game. I don't think they're going to apothecary him. Oh no, I'm wrong. They're actually going for the apothecary that they value, and that is actually a AV7 dwarf. So this may not be the first nor last injury that he's going to see.
And I mean, Shots, you are the leader of these apples here, more or less. I mean, what can you say about that result? Are you happy with that result?
I'm fine with it. It's one of those where I think it rewards Stevie for using the Apo so early. It's unfortunate when a coach goes to the Apo early and the Apo isn't fully prepared to perform his tasks or something like that. The dreaded popcorn break is what most coaches fear. Union popcorn breaks can be a bit of an issue sometimes with these apothecaries, where they have scheduled breaks throughout the game where they go get some food or something like that, and if a coach calls upon them, then it's normally a disaster. The results with buttery fingers, they're just not efficient in those scenarios. But yeah, no, the apothecary definitely was ready this time, and we're going to see that runner come back in the next drive. So the dwarfs are still trying to manage to find a decent spot to block, but this is one of those where they're going to have to rely on Dauntless, I think, more than they would like to. And this is gonna frenzy this player into an uncomfortable position. Dauntless fails, and a reroll on it. But that is a dodge player, but the tackle kicks in. So
yeah,
highly skilled Troll Slayer able to. And he's gonna follow up at the pylon.
He's piling on in a very dangerous position.
Yeah, this is one of those where it's a dangerous spot to be laying. Luckily, he's got some assistance next to him, but the bigger loss is that this is probably gonna lead to an extra die block on a Longbeard, or it does allow players to get a little bit more mobility in that area. So it takes away a tackle zone, and it really kind of opens up a few extra possibilities for the Orcs.
Oh, give me some bloody luck. Jesus.
Just Stevie definitely not happy with the skull popping up. Starting to run thin on rerolls, and from the booth here we can hear his frustration at his players just not performing the way he wants.
Yeah, that was.
I should maybe go on mute.
He might have lost some confidence there due to the position here.
Well, the biggest danger at this point is Gorbag's next to the ball. If they can free up that tackle zone, this is going to be one of those where Gorbag's gonna pull that ball up and be gone. This is going to be a defensive touchdown if they can manage to get a player free to take out the runner.
There's lots of turns left, and I mean, just getting back to that pylon there, and a quite dangerous position. I mean, people that know Thunder in the MML knows that he's not a big fouler. Could that be playing into the decision to pylon in the close vicinity of so many orcs?
Well, I think the bigger advantage to that pylon is going to be that it's to the point where he's not going to be as worried about fouling right now. I think his main goal at this point is going to be getting that ball and getting a lead. This is one of those where the dwarf team that handed him a loss last week really kind of put a sour taste in his mouth, and he needs to get a win and get back on path for the playoffs, because the Titans have made I believe 3 or 4 playoffs so far. I believe it's 3.
Meanwhile, Gorbag has been freed up to grab the ball, and I don't think anyone can reach him at this point. Let's see.
No, it's one of those where if somehow they could break the blitzer free, he could get there to put a tackle zone on Gorbag, but without actually having the tackle ability, it's pretty much a wasted attempt, and probably could lead to more damage than good trying to tackle him out in 2 go-for-its. The dwarves aren't known for being very successful with go-for-its with their stumpy legs. And
I'm a bit surprised we didn't see any go for it for Gorbag there, because he didn't go for it one time, right?
I don't believe he went for it at all. It's to the point where with that movement he doesn't really need it, and yeah, it's one of those where
with one going for it, he could have been out of reach, but yeah, that takes care of one of the guys.
So yeah, he's clear out of range, and at this point, the Orcs may be able to stall for quite a while and continue the pounding on the Grimbeards here. Grimbeards 2 players down, and the Orcs haven't been damaged at all at this point. So I think reposition. He looks like he could foul if he wants, but looking to be content with just pinning in the players that he has and not leaving any escape routes. That they're gonna slowly start pushing these dwarfs around. A lot of guard in that center cluster for the Orcs. I can't get a real good with so many skills. It looks like two guard pieces for the dwarves, so they may be able to find some room to block there. But with the numbers advantage, these Orcs are definitely not going to take it easy on them. So we are going to see a frenzy attack, successful. Armor break, the Troll Slayer coming through, popping up and getting Timbo stunned now down on the pitch, and the pylon. So the Troll Slayer will not be stopped. He's going to continue with his pylon, turning it into a KO, helping to even the numbers for the dwarves.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely not going to be an easy fight for him. It'll be a bit of an uphill battle for the better part of this game, I think. If he can get his KO to come back after this drive, I think that and this is where the short legs on the dwarves are going to come at a disadvantage. Field goal for it, but he does get the tackle zone.
Yeah, but he doesn't have tackle, so that's not a tackle piece, and that's going to make a difference, of course, with Gorbag being a skill dodger here. He's been trained in the skill of dodging.
But at this point, it'll be an interesting proposition to find out what positioning changes, or if Thunden is going to go with the just score mentality and get Gorbag into the end zone immediately.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, another interesting thing here is that the last reroll was used for Stu here, and we have another injury.
Yeah, and with no Apothecary in play now, all these injuries are going to stick. That's a badly hurt, so player will be back next week. But this is going to further damage the dwarfs, and with the strength up players that the Titans have, every player is definitely needed.
And there's so much Mighty Blow in the work team as well. Let's not forget that. I mean, it's a dangerous game now for the dwarves.
Oh yeah, and this is where each move, each position is going to really carry a little bit of extra weight. Oh, and a KO, and it's
yeah. The dwarves are losing in numbers here. I mean, they're not used to this kind of beating, I think. Playing against this team is a very different ball game than playing against some other teams that don't have this much mighty blow, that don't have these kind of strong players. And yeah, this is turning ugly.
Yeah, it's difficult as a dwarf team to come into a game and be outstrength and outbashed, because it's one of those where when you play this style of game, when you come up against a team that does the similar, it really becomes the first team to get a few crucial KOs can really turn the tide, and that's we've seen the armor breaks going the Titans' way, and it's gonna continue to have this impact moving forward.
But I do believe that they have a Babe, right?
I can't remember if they pulled a Babe. Yeah.
And that was a good investment with 2 players knocked out there. Now we see the touchdown from Gorbag, and I mean, he's quite happy about that one, I would think.
Oh, Gorbag's always happy to get a touchdown. He's a bit of a diva and a front runner. We have seen in the past he can get a little bit disgruntled sometimes when he doesn't get his touches and his touchdowns. But this is going to be one of those where they're going to take the defensive touchdown with a big smile and then set back up and try and get another.
Speaking about those babes. Yeah.
So that's going to lead us, I believe, to even 10-10 numbers on the field.
Yeah, should do, yeah.
So the Dwarfs at this point are going to be left with 4 turns to try and even this to 1-1. It's not an easy task for a Dwarf team, but they do have some players that can pull it off. They do have the 4 agility runner, and I believe their other player is set up with I believe that's Dump Off and Nerves of Steel. So it's one of those where if they do choose to run a little bit more of a risky offense, they have some pieces that can.
Yeah, that's a good one for Coach Stewie here. I mean, he really needed that one. An extra reroll, of course, when you're attacking here with the Dwarves, that's a good one. But also, let's not forget where the ball landed. That was a perfect ball landing, more or less, for against the Dwarf team.
And a quick scanning of the players, I am not seeing the kick ability on the Titans, so that was a little bit of Nuffle's luck here, giving them a nice location on that ball.
Yeah. I mean, looking at this team, looking at the Orc team here, I mean, they have lots of players with Dauntless, and those skills are completely wasted in this matchup.
Well, Dauntless, it may come in a little bit handy getting the extra strength on the Black Orcs and some of these strength players. The biggest issue is getting
the Orc team has had Dauntless
the Orc
as well.
team,
and they have lots of wasted skills in this game.
Yeah, I think they have that on Gorbag and Ripper. They didn't spam it too much, but yeah, it's definitely one of those where they early on in development they were leaning more towards Dauntless, and part of that was because of how bashy the league was early on.
We see Big Mo on the ground again. That's the second time I think this game, right?
Yeah, and once Big Mo gets down on the ground, a lot of times you don't see him getting up too quickly. So we're going to see the blitz by the Troll Slayer.
And we see a
reroll on the attack. A little surprising there, but this could be... Oh, and that's... they want to hold the Black Orc there for a follow-up by a different player, it looks like.
Yeah, and Doric, he probably learned from Finber here. I mean, he didn't want to move up into contact with more players, and he just wanted to stay a bit safe here. I mean, Finber...
So we're seeing another little bit of bad luck here. The AV-10 Longbeard with Dauntless and just a highly skilled player was unable to down the Black Orc, and this is gonna slow up this offense. The more players left standing and not armor broken, it's gonna slowly make this more difficult for the dwarfs to make their way up the field and try and get the equalizer 1-1 touchdown.
Yeah. I played the Grim City Grimbeards last week, and they are a tough team, that's for sure. And I mean, Stewie is an excellent dwarf coach, probably one of the best I've seen ever. This is just. And it must be hard for him to see this bad luck here.
Yeah, we're getting a nice little dwarf pass here that will advance the ball a little ways, and that's where I was saying these dwarfs do have the ability to do a little bit more of a flashy offense when they feel like they need to push the envelope some. I don't think we're going to see a lot of passing, but it's definitely one of those things where they can they can move the ball forward some if they need to. One thing to notice that Stevie has actually put 2 frenzy players on along the sideline, and this is a veteran move here, basically threatening any player that comes into that area to get surfed, and it's one of those where they can easily even numbers if they can get the orcs into a conducive position to get surfed and even out these numbers.
Yeah. Let's not forget that the Green Tide Titans are probably very happy stalling this one out. They are not looking at getting the ball or anything. They just want to stop them.
Well, I would definitely agree with you in most scenarios, but in recent history, we've seen the Titans go with a little bit more of an open throttle offense. I believe it would have been 2 weeks ago against my Power Hour. They were able to put up 4 touchdowns, and that's something that you don't really see often in Orc. And now we're seeing the Gorbek make a break up the field a bit, and this is going to put an immense amount of pressure on the Dwarfs to try and protect that ball because at this distance, Gorbag should be within scoring range. So.
Yeah, and the ball carrier here doesn't really have block or dodge. He's very vulnerable. He needs to get rid of that ball. And of course the Green Tide Titans knows this, and they are marking up all the dwarfs they can see.
Yeah, and this is one of those where this lack of mobility by the dwarves is really coming back to haunt them. They do have the 2 armor value 10. I believe they're both Longbeards. It's almost to the point where in times like this, it'd be nice if instead of having that armor, if they were able to have taken the movement advantage and get them up to 5, so you can really start to change the side of the field a little bit and at least keep pace with some of these orcs. Yeah, and then the other.
Continue.
Yeah. The other issue the dwarves are going to have at this point is there's just a giant, massive wall of orcs that are standing in their way. Even if they were able to penetrate this defense at this point, I mean it's to the point where even the closest dwarf that could get through could easily be caught by Gorbag. That Gorbag's movement is just so immense that there's almost no place to hide from him at this point. Gorbag gets a lot of credit for his offensive abilities, but it's really one of those where his defensive the ground that he covers creates issues a lot like a war dancer, where it's just difficult to protect the ball once they're in position. Yeah, and that's a tackle piece this time, so this is one of those where they may require a reroll if Gorbag decides to go on the blitz.
But they have them to spare. They have 3 turns left and they have 3 rerolls. I mean, I don't think Thunden is gonna...
Oh my god.
And he's getting stunned. Yeah, Finber is on the ground, and that leaves it not a possible move for him to move this player. And we might see the worst with Gorbag moving up here. We're probably gonna see it.
This is looking like a Gorbag blitz. I think they're going to be happy with throwing a few blocks first, maybe freeing up another player to get upfield. But this is going to lead to a Gorbag blitz, and this is further giving the numbers disadvantage to the dwarfs. They did not get all their players back up and standing. I don't know if the pylon piece was stunned or if he was still down from his last pylon, but But yeah, this is one of those. Yeah, this is one of those where you know, it's definitely not to the Dwarfs' advantage right now.
Just a shout out here. We have Squiggy here on the Twitch, and he doesn't even own a PS4 or anything, but he's still watching the game. So happy to have you, mate. Happy to have everyone watching these games.
Yeah, this is one of those where it's really nice getting some of these games in a little bit earlier. I know that we have a pretty good following on the West Coast, but it's really nice to be able to commentate some of these East Coast games a little bit, get a little bit different audience, and really showcase what some of these East coaches can do. So okay, and this looks to be the.
And we see another injury, and this is a tough match for the Grimbeards, and that's a niggling.
Yeah, that's a. Yeah, it's one of those where hopefully he can stay with the team and stand a little bit, but that is going to be a bit of a negative for him in the long run. That at some point I have to imagine that niggle's going to come back and haunt him.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see him replaced this season, especially with the cash being used for inducements this game.
The only thing I could think is that if in the future they may end up possibly using him as a casualty to replace him with with possibly a transfer player or something like that.
Yeah. Because I believe the Grimbeards have 12 players, but I believe 2 have nigglings at the moment.
Yeah, I can't remember. I can't recall what their active roster is right now. I know that they were holding 12 before. I think they actually had a fairly new Longbeard missing this game, so that's why they're at 11 for this one.
That one. I niggled that
Oh,
one.
how dare you go niggling! How dare you go niggling Longbeards! You and Thunders are.
He scored one goal with that Grimbeard made against me that game, and I couldn't have it, so I just had to put him out of misery. I didn't want him around anymore.
And we've got another blitzer moving up in the territory, and Gorbag's on the run now. I can't see. Doesn't appear to be a blitz though.
And we have the Gerd here screaming in the Twitch chat, foul!
So a little interesting. I don't believe the blitz has been used yet, and that might have been a misclick on Gorbag. That either that or Gorbag may be slow playing this, trying to get the tackle zone on there, knowing that the Grimbeards have 0 rerolls, and just applying a bit of pressure and hoping that they won't have to block, that the Grimbeards will make a mistake at some point.
Something is shaking his head in here, so I don't know what that means at this point. It could have been a mistake.
Yeah, so a little bit of a communication breakdown there. I don't know if they were running up on the edge of time. I did not notice that, but it could have been one of those where they were running a little bit short on time and in a rush weren't able to complete the play how they drawn it up.
And we have our commissioner here in the chat asking. He had to step away for a bit, and he's asking what he missed. Care to catch him up?
The short of it, and that is a Dwarf joke. The short of it is that the Dwarves sustained another injury. A guard Longbeard took a niggle. The long of it is that either running short on time or a possible miscalculation. Gorbag got all the way up to an AG4 Dwarf without the blitz, and in response to that, the Dwarfs have done a nice little relay here, and may end up getting the equalizer touchdown in the next turn.
Yeah. I can't see anyone reaching him at the moment.
No, and this could lead to frustration following by the Titans.
Actually,
I can't imagine that they're happy with the.
Don't say that.
Let's not put ideas into his head.
Gorbag preached. He scored for the Titans.
So yeah, this. So we are going to get looks to be another armor break. Only a stun, I believe.
Yep. And I see an option here, and I'm sure that Thunder, as an experienced coach, see the same option here. And we have another stun.
Yeah, they're slowly peeling that option open at this point. It's one of those where Ripper Ward is slowly getting his path to a possible. Depending on how aggressive they want to be, they may be able to mark the player or even make a blitz with a dodge through that tackle zone.
That's a play with no dodge or no block holding the ball. I mean, we're gonna see a blitz here.
So we are seeing the strength lineman come over just to put a little additional mental pressure, but basically that lineman is just a cheerleader at his greatest amount and a psychological advantage at the least effective. And we're going to get another pylon from the Orcs here. So
yeah,
both teams.
That's a good pylon. I mean, with that guy so distant from everyone, that's a perfect pylon.
So Gorbag coming back a ways. I believe Gorbag has extra movement left, but it looks like they're keeping him in position that he could actually get a touchdown in the next turn if they somehow can get the ball back to him.
Yeah, the Titans are looking for a score here. I mean, a score here would tie up the game. Good for them, and that would be an amazing thing. And we are, of course, seeing.
And Ripper Ward comes clean through the tackle zone, fails the second goal for it. Extra training in effect, and extra training fails. So this is going to keep the equalizer touchdown alive for the Dwarves. Dwarves have no rerolls last turn. It would be 2 go for it. Will they push their lock and throw blocks? Or are they going to be content with just taking their final march towards the end zone?
And I must once again. I mean, I have such respect for Stu's coaching of Dwarves, and that play right there, getting the ball up to that position, it looked hopeless for them. And right now they're looking at the 1-1 for the first half. That's a very good.
Here comes the slow march and a hesitation. The tension's building.
He has to make the last one. He doesn't really have a choice here.
And
he falls
failed.
Down.
Go for it.
Horrible. That's horrible.
Ball in the worst case scenario here, the ball is scattering. It's moving closer to Gorbag, and this is into the hands of. He does have the movement to do a handoff to Gorbag. Gorbag is currently marked, but we could be looking at a blitz to free up Gorbag, and then Gorbag does have the 2 go for it range to possibly get to get a second touchdown for the Titans.
And we see him go down there because they only needed a push and they go for an injury instead. That's a turnaround. That's a horrible turnaround for the Dwarves.
And that injury is insult to injury, because if that would have just been a stun, that player would have been piled on. So this is one of those situations where Gorbag's mobility is coming back into play. He does have the distance, and we'll see if he can make the 2 go for it. They do have a reroll in their pocket. Gorbag making his march. And does not hesitate, goes clean in for his second touchdown of the game.
He has 2 touchdowns. He's looking for that hat trick, I think. I mean, he's on fire tonight, and that's a good play, and that's some excellent coaching from Coach Thumden there. I mean, leaving that guy in a scoring position with just about the moment he needed, that's some excellent coaching.
Yeah, and that's one of those where...
Yep.
Yeah, and that's one of my mantras that I preach to to new coaches, you can't score if you don't get a guy in scoring range. That if you're running short on time and you have to get a touchdown, the first thing you need to do is make sure that you have players that actually can score a touchdown. Even if it's a couple of go for it, you got to have some outlet to give you that option. It's one of those where a lot of people want to throw those first couple of blocks, and if you're down to a 2-turn touchdown pace where you need it, you've got to find a way to get your guys up the field and ready to score before even addressing the ball or throwing blocks. So that's one of those where experienced coach knew the movement on his players, knew the positioning, and that was where Gorbag actually hung back. He had the extra mobility to put more pressure on the ball, but instead, kept in scoring range, and a well-built relay by the Titans.
A very nice touchdown.
Yeah, and this is an absolute nightmare scenario for the Dwarves. Dwarves are used to loading up the line, using their guard, and at this point they've actually gone to the hide the war dancer approach of boxing in their talented players upfield, so they are minimal risk for blitzes. So this is one of those where bad could go to worse if I hate to say it, but there's definitely a worse. The Dwarfs' biggest nightmare at this point is they barely have enough players to effectively build a cage. So this is one of those where I have to imagine Gorbag's going to be looking for his third touchdown, and then once they score, if the Dwarves have to try and actually play offense at this point, they're really at the bare minimum amount of players that they can effectively cage.
Yeah, and I go on a record to say that a Dwarf team being down in numbers is the worst team to be down in numbers with. I mean, it's such a hard and uphill battle after that one. And we see a blitz here, and that's interesting.
Yeah, no, it's a little bit of a spit in the eye at this point. Basically baiting the Dwarfs to come closer to the line. Coach Thunden kind of waving the Dwarfs forward, like, come on in, guys. There's plenty of room. We put a couple extra guys there for you. Come on, This is one of those where it's one of those where bad going worse. Like I said, the one time that you really can't take advantage of a blitz, and they're seeing it immediately.
Yeah, they're not getting to the ball. I mean, the Dwarves, can't really capitalize on blitzes in the same way as other teams can. They can usually get that one block, but not even that is working out right now.
Yeah, and the biggest danger, and it's something that people don't really look at it with blitzes quite as much, is that you can really do a lot of damage to your placement and your team by overcommitting to a side or a location on a blitz. We've seen blitzes end up backfiring, and then all of a sudden it's a 2-turn touchdown for the other team, just simply on the basis of chasing the ball and really overcommitting to one location. So this is one of those where they keep 3 players back, 3 players on the line, and 2 over on the far side. But this is a tough situation for the Dwarves, because it basically builds in a small cell on the right hand side, the 3 that are already enveloped by the line, and this is one of those where they've the guard that they do have is going to be nullified, because there's not going to be enough Dwarves in any particular group to actually take advantage of it. And speaking of not enough Dwarves, looks like another stun here. And the pile-on follow-up, no risk on that one, and can only manage to keep the stun, so no KO or injury on that. Unsuccessful 3-die block on the block Longbeard, going to be a push actually, so a little bit of an interesting approach there, not wanting to go with another attack. That looks like they're peeling back this line. They may have aspirations of moving forward with this already. Again, taking the push. So it'll be interesting. They freed up a Black Orc there. Blitz has already been used. They do have two strength, 4 players on the left-hand side, and Ripper Ward, the player that went upfield, played safety, and put the pressure on the orcs on that previous touchdown attempt.
Yeah, I think Tottenham is not wasting any time here. He knows he's up with a youth player advantage in number. It won't change anymore since all are injured. There's no KOs that he's done back. In a youth advantage after the next pick.
Yeah, and the bigger issue is that we've already seen Gorbag's mobility, so it's to the point where Gorbag only has to get a few steps past across half field to be within scoring range. So this is one of those where, you know, most teams are used to, you know, if you can stall an orc cage, even at a quarter field, you're pretty safe. Where here with that 8 mobility and 2 go for it's, that puts them within striking distance from, I believe it's 3 squares or 2 squares up from half field. So no real way for the dwarfs to fully protect against Gorbag's mobility at this point. Looking at the dwarfs' options, really not any, anything a person really wants to go with. 1 die block on Ripper Ward does get a successful armor break. Looks to be only a stun. I did not get a look at that bus, but not the pylon player though. So no follow up there, and it looks like they're gonna try and keep a few players back to try and keep Gorbag in check. So they're protecting their AG4 runner, and that's probably a fairly wise idea. He's already been damaged once this game, and with that AV7, something that a lot of these Mighty Blow players will definitely hunt down to try and pad their injury stats. So another successful attack by the dwarves, and we'll see if they're able to get one more hit in. Does not look like it's going to be. Doesn't look like it'll be a good block, but definitely a little bit more risky block. The Grimbeards are looking for a little bit of luck to help their current position in this game. So no follow up, and that will complete the Grimbeard's turn. Looks like the orcs are popping up quickly, dusting themselves off a bit here, and looking to go back to work. So it'll be interesting to see how much they push for this touchdown. I don't think they're going to want to put Gorbag or any of their high-value players at risk, but at the same point, I mean, with the way things have been going,
and Big Mo is injured another one. This is getting, and that's an armor value 10.
Yeah, that is a very low percentage chance of having happening. Even with Mighty Blow, that is a must roll 12 to even get that far.
And he got a natural 12 without the Mighty Blow there, I think.
Okay, so yeah, it was 11 plus, but still, that's a extremely low percentage.
And it's down to, I mean, these orcs are I mean, they're showing these dwarves that they're the bosses of this field. They're the biggest bashers, and this is turning ugly. I mean, it's been turning ugly the whole game, and this is just getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, and that's one of those where the Death Valley Conference has really been one of those where they, the Titans came in. This play pool had 3 dwarf teams to start with, so it's one of those where all the teams knew going in that you're going to be in for an absolute street fight with most of your play pool. So this is one where we're seeing the Titans really enforce their will on this one a little bit, and not taking their foot off the gas on the hitting.
And we have a person here in the chat, Magikarp salesman here. He's saying dwarves getting steamrolled this game now, and I think we can all agree on that sentiment.
Yeah, this is one of those where the dwarves, the Grimbeards, are used to coming in and pushing the other team around a bit, and that definitely wasn't the case here. That Gorbag and the rest of the Titans really came in and were able to disturb the cage before it could even get set up. The dwarves had a little bit mishandling the ball where they weren't able to successfully grab it in the first attempt, and that really opened the door for Gorbag and everybody to swarm in there. The big heartbreaker for the Dwarves, I think, is that they did have an opening at the end of the first half and just one goal for it away. You know, this game looks a lot different if it's a 1-1 tie at this point. But yeah, not being able to get that touchdown and then having the relay to Gorbag be successful and Gorbag getting the touchdown really flipped this game on its head.
And I must say we're up to 21 people on the Twitch here, and lots of people that's not even the MML. Charles, do you care to explain a bit what the MML is all about? I mean, for these new players here and then these new people watching this game.
Yeah, I'll give a little bit of a quick rundown. Currently, the MML is in their 5th season. The MML started shortly after the release of Blood Bowl 2 on the PS4. MML is a PS4 league. It's a constant league. We have returning teams. We have new teams. We have a few different areas where coaches play. We have the pros, where you see right here we have 2 of our pro teams playing. The pros play once a week. It's a 7-week season. There are 8 team play pools, and then out of each 8 team play pool, the top 2 teams go into a playoff. For the teams that don't make the playoffs, if they had above a 500 record, they go into bowl games where they'll be matched up with another competitive team and have a 1-week bowl game where it's a little something extra for some of the coaches that had good seasons but weren't able to get into the playoffs. Each division of 4-team divisions have a champion. And then out of the champions, you know, they have a little bit of bragging rights in that. There are some team value bonuses for the coaches that return to their conferences and divisions, and it's just really one of those where you know we have you know, over these seasons really built a bit of a community and you know a sense of history throughout it. But yeah, this is what I would consider to be the premier PlayStation 4 Blood Bowl league. So
the best league on any platform.
Well, I haven't played on any other platform, so I'm not able to talk, you know, knowledgeably about what other experiences may be. I can only say that if I didn't find the MML, I wouldn't be playing Blood Bowl still. That, you know, some of the public leagues and stuff like that can be a bit of a nightmare and really sour the experience that Blood Bowl can be, and that we've really grown to appreciate.
Yeah, and I must agree with that one. I mean, the MML made this a very interesting experience for me, and I probably wouldn't be playing Blood Bowl on the PlayStation or on any platform if I didn't find MML.
But yeah, now definitely appreciate any new viewers in that. We do something that's a little bit different. We do try to announce a lot of our pro games, different things like that. It's something that we enjoy doing, and a lot of the coaches put a little bit of extra time and effort to make the experience special, and you know, really it's one of those where, you know, I know that some of the coaches in the league right now started off as just viewers, ended up joining the league, working their way up the ranks, and are now pro coaches. I'm not sure if you happen to have that same experience, but I know that there were a few others that are really well-respected coaches that started off just as viewers, similar to a lot of people that may be in the chat for the first time.
I had the most interesting way up to the... I actually joined the pros last week, and I had the most interesting way to get there, because I used to play Blood Bowl like 22 years back on the tabletop game. And then I found Blood Bowl 2 on the PlayStation 4. I played, I think, 100 games against the AI. Never touched any multiplayer at all. And then I just found MML, went in 2.5 months ago, started like getting involved, started doing some graphics for the MML and everything. And it just took off from there. I mean, I just loving the experience. I just loving how open and friendly everything is. And I mean, I learned so much. The first 10 or 20 games was a learning experience. I tell you that. I got crushed. I got smashed. I got killed. But all in good fun.
I hate to admit it, but yeah, that was the early running for me. Also, it's one of those where, early on, I had a couple of fortunate games where I got through, and a lot of my inexperience was forgiven by lucky dice. And then, I thought I was really good at it, and then all of a sudden I kept making the same mistakes and quickly learned Blood Bowl will punish you until you figure out how things actually work. But yeah, it was one of those things where the friendly community and user experience that you have with the league generally does make those losses a little bit easier to take.
And while we've been speaking, I mean, the orcs have been moving into a position that is very advantage. They have a good advantage here. I mean, and we're looking at the dwarves having to make a 2 red die here to even do anything to stop the scoring attempt here. Oh yeah, Stewie won't give up. He's never gonna give up.
Yeah, and this is that moment. And I hate to say it, for these efforts that he's putting forward, I think the clear response is going to be that Coach Thundon's going to have to put his boot right on the neck of these dwarves and just grind them into the ground, because if these dwarves keep hanging around, I mean, any hit could damage one of the players that these Titans are going to be looking to use in the playoffs, or at worst a bowl game at this point.
Yeah.
So.
And the Titans. Oh, that's another injury. And that's another Longbeard. He loses strength.
And that's a broken kicker there. That's going to be difficult. The only fortunate thing that can be said is that it's a Longbeard and not a blitzer, troll slayer, or runner. That the I hate to say it, but the Longbeards are a little bit more replaceable. And now we're going to see a crowd push, and this is gonna load up a possible surf attempt on the next turn. More importantly, this is going to free up Gorbag. We'll see if Gorbag's going to score this turn with a go for it, or if he's going to decide to stall for a turn or two, possibly.
I think Gorbag is going to go for the score. I mean, he's happy. That's a hat trick for him, and I mean, he's happy.
Yeah, this is Yeah, this is it's been a boomer bust past couple of weeks here for the Titans. Either they're loading up a bunch of scores and really running it up and having a lot of success, or they're in the opposite position. Last week they were a lot more in the dwarf situation, where they're playing players down and just trying to get out of the game, trying to still put up a fight, but just dealing with tough dice. So. Yeah, the Titans definitely understand what the dwarves are going through right now, and this is one of those where, with 5 injured dwarves, you're not going to see that often. That the Grimbeards are just trying to ride out the rest of this game, and I mean, I can't recall seeing any Titans even really get KO'd. I think the 0 level thrower. 0 SPP thrower may have been the only one that I saw actually in the KO box. Other than that, they've been almost just impervious. It's like the Grimbeards have been hitting them with grapes, and that the Titans have been swinging shovels and cinder blocks, because it's been all one-sided on this one.
We can hear the sighs from the sideline here of the Grim City Grimbeards. I mean, Stewie here is very upset with this outcome.
I've got to be honest. I mean, 100% Thundon must have got up this morning, saw a black cat, stood in shit. I mean, the luck couldn't go more his way, but this is the closest I've been to conceding. I won't concede, but I've never been in a position where my dwarfs have been so badly injured in every turn.
That's been something that you've been fighting the entire game, and it's one of those where once it gains momentum, it's really tough. It's one of those where the dwarfs they're used to it with when they play like a wood elf team. Oh, and the luck continues.
Yeah.
So this is going to put Gorbag completely under the ball. It'll probably put another player on either side of it, and this is almost a certainty of. I would say at this point you can guarantee a 4th touchdown, and then if this keeps up, it could even be 5th. This is just one of those where everything is absolutely breaking the Titans' way.
Yeah, I mean.
Considering the numbers right now, he had to put his 87 runner on the line, so that's a really bad play.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna point that out, but yeah, that's a tough situation, and it's really one of those where with the way things have been going, it's the Titans don't even have to put a safety back. They can just bring all the players up, mark everyone up, and just start swinging. And it looks like they may have actually forgot their blitz. Either that, or they're saving it for the frenzy player here. That may be the cleanup hit, and here it comes. Frenzy pile on mighty blow plus strength. Rob Shank, the star blitzer for the Titans, looking to come in, only gets the push, but with that plus strength is able to follow up and get 2 dice.
Yeah,
so
and I mean,
unsuccessful.
you have to know the feeling that Stu is having right now. I mean, you played Thunden a couple of weeks back, and I mean, you had a very similar game against them. You were looking at 4-0 at the end, I think, and you had such heavy injuries.
I can really relate to it. I was pretty much in the same scenario, and it was one of those where I have to admit my team easily could have been just pulverized into nothingness, and it was one of those where I got fortunate that the Titans were eyeballing the scoring instead of the hitting, because they could have easily gone into full bash and foul mode, and I would have about half of a team left if that would have happened. That Gorbag probably saved the lives of several of my players with his showboating and scoring and insisting on continuing the scoring pace rather than allowing the Black Orcs to constantly pummel and just grind my players into dust. So, yeah, Gorbag may be saving more dwarf lives than we will ever know.
And just for all the for all the players listening in here, I mean, me and Shots are playing each other directly after this game, so we're going to continue the games in this playpool directly after this game. So if you like what you're seeing, stick around, and we're going to be showing you more.
Yeah, and I believe the Titans coach Thunden may be doing announcing on that one. I'm not sure if we have somebody else joining him in that, but yeah, he's going to be in a good mood. I have to imagine he's going to be rather celebratory and just have a sunny disposition in that announcing. So, not that he needs any help with that. He's British, so he's generally in a positive demeanor. But I have to imagine he's going to be all rainbows and sunshine this time.
And the
For low-level blood bowl after this, I'm gonna play my challenge next game right after this with my very high TV wood elf against low TV or 100,000.
Ooh.
Get hurt really bad.
yeah, and for those that don't know, the MML consists of a farm where basically it's a ladder where we build up players and have a good time, and we build up teams to compete in the pros and the Challenger League. The pros consist of 32 players, and the Challenger League consists of 32 players. And what you're seeing right now is a pro game.
And what you're also seeing right now is a bit of a distracted runner. I'm not sure if he's aware of it, that high mobility is actually taking off for the wrong end zone. Gorbag likes what he's doing, but Gorbag can't figure out a way to get over there and get a hold of him. So this is one of those where the confused dwarf and the back and forth and chaotic nature of this may have the runner a touch confused. Rookie thrower going over and marking him now. So I have to imagine there is going to be a blitz in the near future. Ripper Ward definitely within range, but yeah, this is one of those where the dwarves did not sign up for this particular kind of fight, and it's I think we can honestly say it's gotten a little bit out of hand at some point here.
That's for sure. Yep. But yep.
And the extra training block here, I'm not. The go for it successful. I'm not seeing blocking dice. That was, oh, the dump off. I completely forgot about dump off. This is a dump off into an empty square, hoping for a ball scatter now. And this could be interesting because depending on where the ball scatter goes, that's going to open up the possibility of Gorbag swooping in and. Oh, and speaking of opportunities, this is another opportunity for a dwarf to go down and take a slight injury here. Yeah, it seems so simple. Gorbag has been known to do these kind of things. The only thing that really can be cautioned at this point is that Gorbag is not going to have his automatic built-in dodge that he's used to. The Troll Slayer next to him. Yeah, the Titans did use the reroll so that that tackle Troll Slayer could end up being what stands between Gorbag and another touchdown.
We might actually just see him blocking a guy here instead of doing anything else and just waiting for the next turn. The Green Tide Titans have a good grasp and a good position here.
Oh, we got Big Mo on the move now. Looks like Big Mo's marking up a player.
He could score at this rate.
Yeah, at this point, I wouldn't disprove any of these options. Gorbag definitely going for it. Not known for his passive nature. Does look like he's going to sit on it for a turn here. Fairly safe, and the strength 4 lineman with little skill otherwise takes a double skull block, and just one dice roll goes the Grimbeard's way, many going against them beforehand.
Yeah,
yeah, and that's one of those where with no rerolls left, you're going to see a little bit more of a safe safe game. They're not going to risk go for it and stuff like that as much. Gorbag is going to take a hit now.
One die. That's interesting.
Yeah, the statistics are going to be a little bit lopsided, I think we can all imagine, but it's one of those where the even the percentage of hits, it's just to the point where I can only recall up until this most recent KO, I only recall one other KO in the game, and that's just for dwarves with guard and mighty blow, it's unheard of not to be getting more armor breaks. So I think we're looking at a clear Black Orc blitz to free up Gorbag, and then Gorbag is gonna walk in number 4 if this goes well. So Minty gonna clean up the Troll Slayer here, opening up a handy Gorbag touchdown in the near future here. So Minty sizing up the block. So
we have another knockout here too. I mean, this there's not much to say at this point.
With no one around, Minty now helping Gorbag to his feet, dusting him off, pointing at the ball, pointing at the end zone, shrugging his shoulders. It's now been made clear to Gorbag after that hit what his game plan now is.
Yeah, and he's been the star of this team.
Yeah, but the only thing that may help slow this scoring up is the fact that no more re-rolls for the Titans. So it will make some of these dodges and plays a little bit more difficult. But so far, it hasn't really mattered much what the dice say. The Titans definitely having a good game here, and not a lot of complaints coming out of their camp.
Yeah, and the Titans have had a.
Look at how many dwarfs there are on the field.
Yeah.
And that is 4 goals for Gorbag this game.
And here's the dangerous thing. With 4 touchdowns in one game, I believe the league leader for touchdowns right now is standing at 8. I'm not sure what Gorbag came in with, but a performance like this can really launch a guy up the league leader's standing. So this could be one of those where we're seeing Gorbag at the top of the list in at least scoring and possibly even rushing, depending on how many yards he put on, because he did quite a bit of the work in this game. Both with the defensive touchdowns and with their offensive touchdowns. So, I mean, this is one of those where Oh. Yeah. We've had High Elf score 6. We had a High Elf off 2 weeks ago where we had a 6-5 where neither team really put up much defense, where it was Dignity and Knuffles Holy Rollers. And they in that game set, they tied the scoring record with 6 that Dignity won. Knuffles Holy Roller had the previous record where they would have tied was 5. The original breaking of that record was by NTB in his Rodents. In the previous season, that they were the initial ones playing against an Orc team, that they put up 6 touchdowns. So we have seen a streak of 6 touchdowns and the scoring going up. And then the most recent team to put up 6, I believe, was one of our Wood Elf teams. I don't know if it was the White Owls or if it was the Leaf Dancers. It sounds like it may have been the Leaf Dancers.
Just an update here. Just an update here from the statistic point. Gorbag had 4 goals, 4 touchdowns before this game, so he's up to 8 together with Sornerd from the White Owls. But I believe that Stu with his White Owls scored some goals with the White Owls, maybe. I think they played yesterday.
Yeah, so I have to imagine that numbers went up for the other player, but I am not certain whether that's true or not. But yeah, I do know that that Gorbag with 4 is definitely going to be a force to be reckoned with moving forward. So yeah, the Dwarves not really their hearts really can't be said to be in it at this point. They're submitting the ball at this point, just asking for the Orcs to stop, and they're gonna hide into the safety of a just half-hearted cage. They're trying to get a little bit of SPP wherever they can, and just they're trying to save whatever face that they can. Update from around the league: the Leaf Dancers currently up 2-0 on the Thugs of Weldrake, and that is at the top of turn 10. So quick update there. Not able to see what the injuries are. It looks like at least 1 casualty for the Wood Elves that they currently received. But yeah, little half cage. It looks like the Dwarves are going to be happy with just getting out of this one with a few players not broken, and we'll see if Gorbag stabs at another last second touchdown here, or if the Dwarves are going to be able to protect it enough that Gorbag won't have an opportunity. So, a couple of last minute defensive adjustments. I don't think 90% of these players are going to come into any kind of contact here in the next turn, and that both coaches really just either just grinding out the last couple of turns here, or already popping the champagne and celebrating.
calling my boss at work to tell him I'm away to get absolutely smashed.
Yeah, I do believe this qualifies as sick leave because this game got a little bit disgusting at points there.
I'm sorry, Stevie, man.
Oh, don't stress, it's fine. It's Blood Bowl, mate.
Another quick... oh no, it's the same thing. Apparently we've got two different streams showing the same game there, so... Alright, so yeah, that's the only updates that I have from around the league is the 2-0 lead for the Leaf Dancers over the Thugs of Weldrake at this time.
Yeah, and I must say, I've been watching Thunden's games here in this season, and he's been having very strange game. Either the dice goes completely in his favor, or they go completely against him. Hasn't really been any games that been on an even playing field.
Yeah, it's been definitely hot and cold lately, and this is one of those where the dice were hot and things were firing on all cylinders. I have to imagine that Thunden's going to be looking to even that out a little bit before getting into the playoffs, because at this point with this win, he's really lined himself up in a good position to make a playoff run.
Yeah, I think he's going to lead his play pool with this win. He has 4 wins. 1 loss, I think.
I'm not sure if he has a loss or a tie.
I know that by Prague.
The Slan Seers, are also running pretty hot, and they're in the Death Valley at this point by Jofro. That he's got them firing on all cylinders, and I can't remember at last count if they have 3 or 4 AG4 skinks. But yeah, that's another dangerous team that they've gotten they've got all but one of their Sorai with block now, and their Crocs also has block. So it's one of those situations where not a lot of weakness on that team, still running at a pretty lean team value. So they're getting some inducements, and yeah, that's another strong team that we're seeing in the league at this time.
And right now we're seeing the Dwarves finally trying to cage up at some point. I mean, but this is a desperate move. They have contact with 2 strength 4 works there. This is a dangerous situation.
And the danger has been alleviated.
Misclick. Wasn't thinking. It's going for the blitz and the ball carrier, trying to skew it over to Gallbag and just totally...
And we have Thunden here. Yeah, telling it like it was a mistake there, and that's gonna happen sometimes.
So the Dwarves just gonna maybe throw a couple of cursory blocks here, just get a slap in here or there wherever they can get one, and maybe even attempt a quick throw or something like that. But yeah, they had a rough one, and they'll be happy to get out of this one without having any players die. Only major injury that I had noticed during the broadcast was they did have a strength down Longbeard, but probably one of the lower value targets on their team, so they're going to be in good shape still moving forward. Oh yeah. There was I believe that was another Longbeard. So Longbeard's taking the.
For everyone, stick around. We're probably gonna have Thunden and Stewie, the coaches of this game, join us here for some aftermath comments.
Don't bet on it.
So. Yeah, rough game for you there. Grimbeard's, really a force to be reckoned with in most games, and just couldn't really get anything going. You sustained 63 blocks, 3 KOs, and 6 injuries on your team. I can't imagine that you've seen any numbers like that with your dwarf experience. I give you a lot of credit for hanging with it and taking the hits in that. Only 23 blocks, so that really tells you kind of what the pace of the game was. I gotta imagine it was extremely frustrating. At what point did you really feel like the game was completely out of hand and you just no longer had a chance?
Turn 1.
Another question.
Yeah. No, honestly, from the turn one, I mean, I've been doing a lot of practicing against orcs. Obviously, playing against the AIs miles different than playing opponents. But yeah, I've never seen my two runners drop the ball and roll a one. But I guess it comes around. And then that wizard was an attempt, as you say, as you guys pointed out, was to at least get an injury or take a KO of one of these faster players. And again, that didn't do anything whatsoever. And then, as you've all pointed out, one or two injuries. If you go down 2 injuries to a dwarf team, and I've got no extra subs, it's really an uphill struggle after that.
Yeah, and that's one of those where the guard with 2 strength 5 players having guard on the team, it really became difficult even to get clean hits on some of them, and the Titans having guard to nullify some of that definitely didn't do much help either.
And I'd like to say Nuffle didn't do me any favours. However, the dice could have been better. But Thundon's a good coach. I know, everybody in the league probably knows. So, and this team are no slouches. So, they are to be feared. So,
we had a question from the Twitch chat here about why did you choose to go AV10 instead of extra movement on your Longbeards? There was a heated discussion about that before.
I think last season I tried to play the dwarfs and play tactically and try and it didn't really pay off. I got too many draws, so I thought if I can grind out first halves and knock out and bash, injure, and then I can score better there. I mean, you've seen that last week yourself, Nords. That went really well in my favour, and I could have won that game 2-1 and blew it.
Yep. That was an interesting game. Any more questions for Stevie?
Let's get London in.
Yeah, tough loss for you, but you'll soldier on, and your luck will change in next week most likely. But looking forward to seeing the Grimbeards in week 7, and hopefully I can get a repeat of this because I really don't want to get on the opposite side of the pounding that I've seen the Grimbeards can dish out. So yeah, tough luck on this one, and I'm sure we'll see better luck for you in the future.
Okay. Sorry I couldn't make it a better game for you to commentate on, guys.
Hey Stevie, good luck in the future, man. I'm really sorry, man.
No, it's no problem. Thanks for the game. Thanks, guys.
And that right there lets you know how the game went. When Thundon feels he has to apologize, it's been a pretty one-sided affair.
And I just have one word for you here, Thundon, to start with. Gorebag.
Yes. We try to keep him under wraps. Don't let anybody know about him, and we'll be very, very appreciative.
Yeah, 19 SPP. That's not a number you see at the end of most games. He got the MVP and all the touchdowns, so that's pretty impressive day for him.
I think he picked up an injury as well. But, the thing was, I mean, the dice rolls went bad for Stu at the start. But once, I think you mentioned it, once you have 1 or 2 off of that dwarf team, and I targeted the guard pieces, and got lucky with the rolls against them. But once you have those off the pitch, it's a different proposition, especially with the strength 4 and strength 5. You just get the 2 die blocks very easily, and then it just we both had 790 blow each. We both had 4 guard pieces each. So it's pretty even on skills, but just the strength was the deciding factor, and I really had to play for that and play to just try and run around him. But it went very well. I mean, if the luck had gone against me in the first couple of turns, then it would have been a different story. It might have been very much like Prague. As soon as this was going to be whoever got the first couple out was gonna have the advantage. I was just lucky it was me.
Yeah, it's a story that I've seen played out recently. Once the momentum gets to one side, it can be rather difficult to recuperate from that. You kept the foot on the gas, kept it entertaining. Didn't seem like you could keep Gorebag from punching in touchdown after touchdown. Although, if that's the worst thing that's happening is Gorebag scoring, then you're having a pretty good day.
Ironically, I made 2 more mistakes this week than I did last week when I lost to Dwarfs. There was an error. I got myself confused with the Gorbag Blitz. It wasn't a misclick. I thought I'd used it earlier, so I just thought I'll put a tackle zone on. And then when I heard you guys say it, I was like, shit, I didn't use it. Because I used a reroll instead, and that's what... It just confused me. I made a mistake there, and they obviously broke down the field with it. I was unlucky.
Thankfully, Nuffle saw that move and went, "Where are you going?"
Well, yes, he did. But Nuffle, before he did that, did give me a double one on a reroll when I was blocking you. So yeah, that was really tough luck on Stevie, man. And then the other error was fortunately turn 16, where I just farted around with trying to break open a cage and try and pop the ball out to Gorbag, but it didn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna take a quick little break here, and we'll be moving over to probably my Twitch. I'm imagining.
Okay,
So,
I need about a 5 or 6
game.
minute bio, if that's all right. I say bio, it's a smoke break before I start commentating on your game, guys.
Yeah, that's fine. In about 5 minutes, we'll retool and be over on more_shots Twitch, and we'll do this dance all over again. We'll see if maybe the Chaos team can get the numbers advantage on the undead and make for an undead coach to be very, very unhappy.
Or the other way around, you never know.
What you saw here. If you like what you saw here, join us, go to the page MML.com. I mean, there's articles, there's stories about all these teams and players and everything.
And a podcast.
And a podcast, of course. I mean, Thundon here, he's made an excellent podcast together with one of our other coaches, Hess. So, I mean, check it out. It's a great time.
And guys, I'd just like to say thank you from me for commentating on the game. It's always great to have you guys in my ear, telling me when I've cocked up. And I hope everybody else really enjoyed it. It's one thing that we love doing here. So yeah, congratulations. Congratulations, guys, on a great broadcast. And I'm going to stop the broadcast now and say thank you all for watching, and catch you next time. Toodle pip.
Thanks, guys.